Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
And I'm Pauline Verzosa.
The big stories tonight. Amid continuing discussions on alleged anomalies in flood control projects, non-stop rains this morning submerged Metro Manila for the nth time. And there's no guarantee it won't happen again.
And while their city is being battered by rains and their streets by flood, Manila Congressman Joel Chua and Mayor Isko Moreno engage in a verbal exchange over a demolished structure.
And the DPWH has placed engineer Henry Alcantara on floating status after the discovery of ghost flood control projects in his district. Alcantara was also asked to explain allegations of corruption, including those revealed by Senator Ping Lacson in a privileged speech.
Napakalaking hirap sa katulad yung maedad na.
Tingnan mo naman ba yung bao? Asa na yung flood control natin? Nabulsa na!
It seems to be a no-brainer now for Metro Manila residents at least, that if the rains pour, floods will surely follow. What makes this story different now are supposedly anomalous flood control projects coming to the fore, making residents in the NCR and elsewhere much more disappointed now by this perennial problem. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos with tonight's big story.
It is still dawn, but most of Manila's main roads were already disappearing into rising flood waters. Since past 3 a.m. on Friday, rains have been pouring incessantly. Taft Avenue, notorious for flooding, immediately had people wading through up to waist-deep water. As for commuters, they had no choice on Friday morning but to soldier on. And of course, the situation's doubly hard for the elderly.
Napakalaking hirap sa katulad yung maedad na. Kasi baka mamaya makapunta ako sa bukas.
From the Philippine General Hospital, Z had to carry her wheelchair-bound daughter to go home to Tondo, also in Manila. But they had to brave the non-stop showers and the flooding that almost always come after, since this is the day the sick child is scheduled for check-up.
Papunta pa lang po, binuhat ko na. Tapos yung wheelchair po ng anak ko is pinatula ko na lang sa mga taong concerned citizen.
Classes only got suspended at noontime. Students had no choice but to wade through floodwaters just to get home.
Tanggal na po ako ng sapatos. Kasi lalambot po yung sapatos ko. Sira? Oo po, masisira.
Fortunately, MRT3 and LRT Lines 1 and 2 gave free rides on the rainy afternoon of August 22, with traffic in the area at the literal standstill. Toto, a rider, can only think out loud as his motorcycle got submerged in the water.
Ang masasabi ko, tingnan mo naman ba yung bao? Asa na yung flood control natin? Nabulsa na!
The flood also managed to seep inside the Manila City Hall. Employees had to be extra careful walking down halls with the tile floors slippery. Intramuros Training Center, where the Gymnastics Association of the Philippines or GABHOL's office was also underwater. All rubber mats wet. Personnel spent hours cleaning up and tried desperately to keep their office dry. Manila's Department of Public Services responding by clearing and declogging drainages and canals along Taft Avenue. Meanwhile, in Pasay, a Philippine Air Force truck had to rescue students stranded at the Villamor Air Base Elementary School. Because floodwaters reached up to waist high in surrounding roads, parents weren't able to fetch their children. Some had to ride on rubber boats to avoid getting soaked. According to the barangay, they're used to the scene since they are in a low-lying area. Floodwaters were sure to come whenever the creek overflows. Today is no different.
Ito yung one of the most affected areas during typhoon, yung mga flooding natin. Kung makikita nyo, itong access na to is papunta doon sa may school area. Lagi naman kaming ready rito. And since ang barangay Wanit is low-lying area, kaya medyo na-monitor naman namin. Ito, makikita mo dito sa area. Maglalakad pa. Medyo mataas po lugar na ito. Yan, yung tubig na yan. Medyo, yan yung nagiging concern natin dito.
During an inspection around the river, Pasay Mayor Emmy Calixto Rubiano said many areas in the city are flood-free when non-stop rains poured on Friday.
Tinitingnan ko po yung aming mga creek kasi dati-dati talaga to. Pagka ganito, wala kang tubig na makikita, puro basura.
Okay.
Makikita tinutukan po namin itong creek at saka by 5 meters yan. Inalalim po yan ng 2 meters.
Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
And now for our weather report, Tropical Depression Isang was last spotted by Pag-asa in the vicinity of Aglipay Town in Quirino. As of 5 p.m., Isang is moving west-northwest with maximum sustained winds of 15 kilometers per hour. It has maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour near the center. Pag-asa says Isang is set to move in the West Philippine Sea later tonight and will exit the Philippine area of responsibility tomorrow morning or afternoon. That movement, however, will bring rains with gusty winds in Ilocos, Cordillera, Cagayan, Nueva Ecija, and Aurora. Cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms may also be felt tomorrow in the rest of Central Luzon. Meanwhile, southwest monsoon will bring occasional rains in Occidental Mindoro and Palawan. But here in Metro Manila, together with the rest of Luzon and western Visayas, expect cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms. The habagat may also bring partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms in Mindanao and the rest of Visayas.
And now to give us more details on the weather this long weekend, we have News 5's weather frontliner Alvin Pura. Alvin, what's causing the rains and floods here in Metro Manila and other parts of Luzon? Is it Isang alone or isang flood anomaly? Flood control anomaly?
Okay, sa flood control ng 6, wala tayong connection dyan. Pero yung bagyong Isang is directly affecting Northern Luzon and Central Luzon. And meron din tayong inflow ng habagat or southwest monsoon which is nagpapaulan po sa mga areas na medyo malayo doon sa center ng bagyong Isang. So ito po yung mga areas ng Mimaropa hanggang Western Visayas at nag-extend pa yan hanggang dito sa may area ng Zamboanga Peninsula and Northern Mindanao. Meron din tayong mga possible rains dito sa Western Visayas and dito nga Central Visayas and Bicol region. Pero mostly, dun sa direct effect ng Bagyong Isang, yung concentration ng ating mga heavy rains at intense rains is medyo malapit doon sa center ng gitna ng Bagyong Isang. If mapapansin nyo, itong ating satellite image, nandito yung ating bulk ng heavy rains na associated with Bagyong Isang. So if ever kumilos na pa ito, pa West Philippine Sea, kasama niya po yung mga pagulan. Yes, yes.
Anong areas naman ang apektado ng buntot? Di ba? May buntot ni Isang. Kasama ba yung Bulacan na alam naman nating ghost projects ang nandun para sa baha? Tapos ang Oriental Mindoro, apektado ba? Yung dalawang lugar na yun kasi yung merong talagang palpak na flood control projects.
Yes, Ma'am Ses, yung ating mga pagulan sa Bulacan and Mindoro, yung medyo mas marami nating mga pagulan na matatanggap dyan is nag-start na today and until tomorrow. Pero by late afternoon or hanggang evening bukas, if ever nandito na sa may West Philippine Sea, ito pong Bagyong Isang, significantly mababawasan po yung ating mga pagulan dyan. Although cloudy pa rin yung panahon natin dyan, possible pa rin po yung mga scattered at kalat-kalat na pagulan. And by Sunday, significantly less na po yung ating mga pagulan dyan dahil si Isang isihilahin niya yung ating mga pagulan papunta naman sa kanya. Yun nga yung ating tinatawag na tail or yung buntot ng ating bagyo. Kaya Ma'am Ses, yung worst weather natin for Mindoro and Bulacan is today until tomorrow.
Okay.
Alvin, ako dito naman sa Metro Manila talagang naramdaman natin yung baha, lalo na sa lungsod ng Maynila. Gaano ba karami yung ulan na ibinuhos nitong si Isang? Kasi parang after just a few hours, tumaas agad yung baha. So is it because of the amount of rain or dahil nga sa itong mga anomalous flood control projects?
Medyo malaki yung dulot na pagulan. Medyo malawak yung thunderstorms na nakita na yung mga kaulapan na nakita natin kaninang umaga. Medyo matagal din po siya, starting from morning and then afternoon na siya medyo nag-subside. So medyo marami tayong nakuhang ulan. So hanggang heavy, hanggang heavy rains po yung ating natanggap na pagulan. So technically, pag mga ganyang short-lived, short time period na meron tayong heavy rains, usually talaga nagbabaha na po, especially doon sa mga low-lying areas, yung mga catch basin, and especially if hindi maganda yung ating mga flood control projects dahil nga hindi natin na-sustain or hindi natin na-flow ng maayos yung mga tubig ulan natin papunta sa mga rivers tsaka sa mga labasan talaga ng tubig papunta sa Manila Bay or sa mga dagat or papunta nga ng Ilog Pasig. So usually pag ganitong maiksi yung time period with heavy rains, yan, medyo sure po talaga na nagdadala po yan ng pagbaha.
Alvin, may binigay na bang amount of rainfall ang Pag-asa na inabot dito sa Metro Manila? Hindi naman kahaba ang panahon yung ulan di ba? Siguro mga ilang oras.
Yes, wala pa akong nakukuhang data from Pag-asa. Pero unlike nung mga nakaraang habagat na episode, hindi naman ganun karami yung nakuha nating pag-ulan. Medyo malawak lang talaga yung pag-ulan natin. And yun nga, kasabay yun ng pagdaan ng Bagyong Isang. So bukas nga, significantly, pag medyo malayo na po or palayo na, ito pong Bagyong Isang, significantly magabawasan din po yung ating mga pag-ulan dito sa Metro Manila. Although, meron pa rin po tayong mga chances ng mga thunderstorms. And if ever meron tayong thunderstorms, kahit medyo sumisili po yung ating araw, sometimes nagbibigay pa rin po yan ng malakas na pag-ulan. And nagpapabaha pa rin po yan, especially ang mga mababang lugar po.
Oh, Alvin, kaninang hapon, actually, may nakausap kaming Pag-asa weather forecaster. Ang sabi niya, 50 to 100 millimeters daw, parang yung nabuhos na ulan. Just to help us understand that, marami ba yun? Mabigat ba yun? Enough to inundate nga a whole city or dito nga sa Metro Manila?
Yes, Pauline, yung 50 to 100 millimeters na i-estimate nila is moderate to heavy rains. Usually naman pag meron tayong heavy rains, nagpapabaha na talaga yan dito sa Metro Manila. Lalong-lalo na if hindi maganda yung ating mga sewage system and yung ating mga flood control areas or yung mga flood control projects natin. Pero yung ganong klaseng ulan ay hindi pa siya ganun karamihan. Actually, may mga times na maganda yung panahon, nakakaranas tayo ng thunderstorms na nagtatagal ng 2 to 3 hours lang. Since thunderstorm siya, is nagpapabaha rin po, gaya ng nangyari about 2 weeks ago sa may areas na Bicutan area. Mayroon tayong thunderstorms noon na nangyari ng around hapon hanggang gabi. So yun, nagpabaha din siya, nagkaroon din tayo ng heavy traffics, saka nag-stall din yung mga sasakyan. Yung moderate na mga pag-ulan natin na natanggap kay Bagyong Isang, pasok pa rin naman siya sa ating average na natatanggap na pag-ulan. Hindi pa siya ganun significant. Pero
imagine mo hindi pa yun moderate lang yun, ganun na yung baha. Ano pa kaya kung daanan tayo ng isang talagang matinding bagyo?
Yun nga, Ma'am Ces, actually yung makila ng habagat natin, hindi rin siya ganun kalakas, unlike nga nung nakaraang episode ng habagat natin na mas marami tayong natanggapang pag-ulan. Compared ngayon, is yun nga, kaninang hapon is medyo nag-subside na yung mga pag-ulan natin at medyo nabawasan na rin yung mga pag-ulan natin. So medyo kakunti pa yun kumpara ng mga nakaraang habagat. Pero yun nga, pag umabot tayo ng moderate hanggang heavy rains, yan, nagkakos na rin po siya ng flooding dito sa Metro Manila. Highly urbanized areas po yan. Madalas po magkaroon ng mga floodings pag meron tayong moderate to heavy rains. And yung mga areas naman na mountainous yan, nagiging prone din sa mga flash floods and landslides.
Alvin, nabanggit mo yung habagat. Saan bang, anong mga lugar ang maapektuhan ng habagat? Dahil meron din, di ba, sa kasalukuyan?
Yes, Ma'am Ces. Dito sa ating satellite image, ito yung center natin ngayon is si Bagyong Isang ay tumatawid dito sa Northern Luzon. Probably ngayon, napakalapit na po niya dito sa area ng La Union at Pangasinan. So nandito po yung ating reference point, yung gitna niyan. Ito pong Northern Luzon, although may mga butas yung cloudiness natin dyan, is yan yung direct effect ng Bagyong Isang. And then dito po sa Central Luzon, at ilang parts ng Northern Luzon, yan po yung malalakas na pag-ulan natin. Ito rin po yung direct effect ng Bagyong Isang. So nasa around 200 kilometers yung ating extent ng radius ng Bagyong Isang. Yung mga areas na away o nandito sa ibabang bahagi or yung tinatawag nga nating dating buntot ng bagyo is yung ating habagat or southwesterly wind flow ay nakaka-apekto dito sa Metro Manila. Ito pong areas ng Bulacan, Rizal, Calabarzon, and areas po ng Calabarzon, Cavite, Batangas, Mindoro, Palawan. Nag-extend pa yan dito sa areas ng Camarines Sur, Camarines Norte, some parts ng Bicol Region, Western Visayas, up to Zamboanga Peninsula. Pero yung mga pag-ulan natin dito is considerably less kumpara dito sa mga areas na medyo malapit sa gitna ng bagyo. Nonetheless, kailangan pa rin po natin mag-ingat tayo. If ever nga, meron tayong thunderstorms, heavy rains pa rin po yan na nangyayari na short period of time. So, pwede po magpabahayan o magkaroon tayo ng mga flash floods and landslides.
Alvin, long weekend ngayon, di ba? So may mga nagbabakasyon na hanggang Lunes yan. So by Lunes ba, hindi naman masasayang yung kanilang bakasyon? Lalabas na ba ang araw?
Yes, Ma'am Ses, bukas, if ever nandito na sa may West Philippine Sea, yung ating bagyong Isang, significantly, mababawasan yung ating pagulan sa malaking bahagi ng Luzon. Meron lang tayong trough nitong bagyo na magpapaulan dito sa western section ng Luzon, Zambales, Bataan, ang ilang areas ng La Union and Pangasinan. Sa Metro Manila, mababawasan po yung ating mga pagulan, pero mataas pa rin po ang ating chance ng pagulan. Pero by Sunday, if ever mas malayo na po, ito pong bagyong Isang, magpapakita ng araw. And possible po yung ating mga afternoon showers na lamang or thunderstorms, yung regular natin na natatanggap tuwing hapon at gabi. Hanggang Monday na po yan. Pero sa mga areas po, lipat natin yung ating image. Dito po sa mga kasama natin sa Mindanao area, meron tayong binabantayang panibagong low pressure area sa labas ng PAR. Sa ngayon, mababa pa yung chance niyang maging bagyo. Pero by tomorrow hanggang Sunday up to Monday is yung kanyang trough or extension. Ito dito sa ating satellite image, itong mga cloudiness na to ay aabot naman dito sa eastern portion ng Mindanao. Yan po ang mga areas ng Caraga, Davao Region, kasama po dyan ng Siargao or Siargao Islands or Surigao, maging dito sa Eastern Visayas by Monday. So ito naman po ang magdadala ng pagulan. Particularly dito sa southeastern portion naman ng ating bansa. So yung mga may long weekend dyan, sa ngayon medyo mas maliwalas yung panahon, is mas mataas na chance ng pagulan this coming few days po.
And Alvin, magbo-Burmans na, no? Pero ilang bagyo pa ba ang tinatayang dadaan sa Pilipinas o sa PAR?
Apat na bagyo tayo ngayong August. So nasa hanggang 3 bagyo rin yung inaasahan natin by September. And then mas mababawasan yan by October. Pero again, papunta pa lang tayo sa exciting part. Yung mga bagyo tuwing bare months, October, November, December, usually yan yung mga malalakas at yung po yung matataas ang chance ng landfall. So mas nagiging delikado po yung mga bagyo natin kapag bare months. So kagaya po ng Yolanda, Odette, Rolly, is yung Pipito, yan, mga bare months po nangyari yan, mga later part na ng year. So mas magiging delikado po yung ating mga bagyo in the next few months. So dapat mag-ready po tayo dyan.
Naku naman, exciting, sabi mo. For a meteorologist, I guess, the science of looking at it, pero medyo nakakakaba na. Dahil, Alvin, ano ba magiging epekto? Kasi sinasabi, ang inirerekomenda, moratorium muna sa flood control projects, na pag walang sasangga dyan sa mga baha, ano kaya ang magiging epekto?
Yes, Ma'am Ses, pag ganitong medyo malalakas yung bagyo natin and meron tayong monsoon, not necessarily habagat, meron din po tayong malalakas na pagulan kahit nagkakaroon tayo ng northeast monsoon or yung ating amihan. So depende po yan sa location ng ating bagyo. So kapag ganyan po is kahit po nasa bundok yung ating mga pagulan or yung concentration ng ating malalakas na pagulan, na bumababa po yan sa mga tributaries papunta po sa mga highly urbanized areas, kagaya po nung nangyari sa Ondoy. Mostly yung ating mga pagulan nun is galing sa Tanay, sa Rizal area, and bumaba po sa atin na Ipon. So marami rin tayong pagulan sa Metro Manila, mas marami rin po tayong mga pagulan sa bundok. So nagpo-flow ng hindi maayos yung ating mga bundok. Naiipon po dun sa mga areas na hindi maayos yung mga protection sa flood or mga flood control projects natin. So mas naiipon yung mga areas na yun, nahihirapang mag-flow sa dagat yung ating mga tubig ulan. So mas tumataas yung ating tubig lalo at mas mabilis umakyat yung tubig. So mas nagkakaroon tayo ng mga pagbaha.
Okay, maraming salamat sa iyong update. That's Alvin Pura, Weather Frontline of News 5. In other news, while parts of their city were submerged in floodwaters, 2 leaders of Manila are clashing over a demolished basketball court. 3rd District Representative Joel Chua calls Mayor Isko Moreno a bully, and Yorme called out the lawmakers' illegal action. It all started in an inspection on Thursday. Moreno found out that the Rasak covered court in Santa Cruz District is now a construction site for a project allegedly led by Congressman Chua. Moreno said no building or demolition permit reached his office about the particular construction.
And I challenge him. He's a lawyer. Pwede ba magpatayo ng building ng walang building permit? Ngayon nila imbestigahan sa Quadcom ang sarili nila. May gobyerno sa lungsod ng Manila and it is called City Government of Manila, not City Congress of Manila.
Chua told the Manila mayor to blame the Department of Public Works and Highways instead. The lawmaker says he can only propose the budget for any construction, but it is the DPWH that's implementing the project.
Yung pagkukuha po ng permit na yan ay trabaho po yan ng DPWH. Diba? So, hindi ko nga po maintindihan dito kay Mayor Isko Moreno kung bakit congressman ang congressman. Wala nang sinabi, gusto lang magpasikat, putak po siya ng putak na para pong aso, tahol ng tahol. Eh mali po yung tinatahulan niya.
Chua explained a community center is supposed to be constructed on the site and that he's just continuing the project of former Congressman and Vice Mayor Yul Servo.
Ako po'y matagal na nananahimik, pero alam po ninyo, umikot po kayo sa Maynila, 90% ng barangay hall nasa kalye. Meron po diyang police station na nasa kalye rin. E di dapat gibain din po niya yun kung talagang seryoso siya. Eh kaso nangyayari sa kanya, selective. Eh masyado po siyang bullying mayor.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, the Public Works Department admits there could be ghost projects in Bulacan, but it says these only exist in one engineering district. We have the details of that story when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back to the big story. DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan confirms the assistant district engineer allegedly behind Bulacan's flood control mess is now on floating status. On our sister program Storycon, Bonoan said engineer Henry Alcantara has been issued a show cause order and pulled out from his post. And that's even before he was mentioned in Senator Ping Lacson's privilege speech on August 20.
For all the documentation, I issued to them a few days ago a show cause order based on yung especially on the project that the president went to see in San Miguel, Bulacan.
Up to this point, Bonoan also stands his ground that only the 1st District of Bulacan has ghost flood control projects. This, he says, is according to the DPWH's own people on the ground.
We have dispatched actually our people to validate all the completed projects as we reported to the President. And this is the only district engineering offices na meron hong issue na ganito. So far, this is the only district engineering office na meron hong nakapag-report na ghost project po.
As for the alleged ghost flood control project our news team covered in Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro, well, Secretary Bonoan says there must be some mistake.
Has been given the report. Yung pong sinasabing na ghost projects in Nauhan ho, hindi ho totoo yan. I think there was just a little miscommunication where the locations are. Kasi ang sinasabi yata nila, wala silang nakita doon sa may sitio DK na sinasabi nila. But I think it's in barangay Apitong.
Meanwhile, Occidental Mindoro should also be investigated for ghost flood projects. That's according to its provincial government, no less. News 5's drone video captured the stretch of a road dike in Sitio Lagnas at Barangay San Pedro in the town of Rizal that has a gap and with uneven parts. Per data from the Sumbong sa Pangulo website and according to the residents themselves, the dike has two portions built by two different contractors, F.A. Torres Construction, which finished in 2023, and SunWest Incorporated, which took over.
Sa akin, iba ang design ng kanilang proyekto at mayroong kasamang ilaw. Pagdating dito, dahil doon sa hindi nadugtong ang dalawang project na ito magkasunod, kung halimbawa hindi na isagawa agad-agad, repair itong one, at magkakaroon uli ng pag-wash out at mapinsala naman ang mga pananim na.
In the town of Sablayan, the flood control structure is almost crushed and had long cracks. It also had 2 contractors. The most recent was, again, SunWest, which declared the 217 million peso project completed as of March last year. The project was destroyed in July last year but never got fixed.
Simulang nasira ito noong nakarang taon, 2024, may nasira na dito. Then ngayong 2025, bumagsak siya, mas malaki na yung nasira. Bago lang pumunta yung contractor dito o yung engineer nito lang nakaraang araw. At kahapon din ang dumating yung kailang equipment. Nanghihinayang kami doon sa pondo na inilaan dito sa aming lugar kasi sa laki ng pinondo dito tapos ganito lang yung nangyari na sa isang iglap, bumagsak siya.
In a statement, SunWest said it is focusing on strengthening projects. It also insisted only 5% of the Sablayan structure has been damaged and is still under warranty. SunWest is targeting to finish repairs until the end of this month.
Siyempre mas alam namin yung kung saan dapat yung unahin. Hindi siyempre kung at magkaisang diretso, hindi yung kung napansin niyo may natapos, may naputol, tapos gagawa ulit.
Meanwhile, according to the provincial government, at least 10 flood control structures in Occidental Mindoro was destroyed by the Habagat last month. Governor Ed Gadiano is convinced the projects were stripped of much of their funding, forcing contractors to settle for substandard materials.
Lahat ng grabang itinabon dito, kaya tumaas ito ng ganito, galing dyan sa ilog lahat. Tapos hindi nila babayaran ng buo yung quarry tax. Sabi ko, ibigay dapat nila yung program of work. Sa program of work, nakalagay kasi doon kung ilang cubic meters yung babayaran nila. Yung hindi nila pagbabayad ng buo doon sa ginamit nilang sand and gravel, ang lumalabas na parang ninanakawan nila dito ay ang barangay, ang munisipyo at ang probinsya. Ba't tinipid, di ba? Eh, yan naman, babayaran naman sila pag ginawa nila ng maayos. At saka sa project, may markup na rin yan eh. May markup na kung saan ay may kita na rin yung contractor dyan.
In other news, the Sandigan Bayan has cleared former Vice President Jejomar Binay, his son, ex-Makati Mayor Junjun, and 22 others over cases stemming from the controversial 2.2 billion peso Makati Car Park building. In a unanimous ruling by the Anti-Graft Court's 3rd Division, the justices said the prosecution, quote, miserably failed to prove the charges against the accused, meriting their acquittals. The Binays and City Hall officials were charged with graft, falsification of documents, and malversation of public funds for the allegedly overpriced Makati Car Park building. The former vice president was accused of rigging the first, second, and third phases of the building, while his son, Junjun, supposedly rigged the fourth and fifth phases. They allegedly released funds despite the deficiencies of the contractor Hillmark Construction Corporation. The ombudsman found probable cause to file charges against the Binays and all the accused. The cases were filed when the former vice president stepped down from office back in 2016.
Well, in case you missed it, Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto slammed his former mayoralty rival again, and this time for granting interviews in exchange of payment. And the broadcast journalists who feature the Discayas' Rags to Riches story maintain all ethical standards were followed. In a statement, the executive producers of the shows of veteran broadcaster Corina Sanchez maintained Sara and Curly Discayas' story was newsworthy. Sanchez made 2 interviews with the Discayas, one in November 2024 and another in January this year before the campaign period. The producers outright denied Soto's insinuation that Sanchez received 10 million pesos for the interviews. They accused the Pasig mayor of committing cyber libel for his Facebook post. As for News 5 anchor Julius Babao, who featured the Discayas in his YouTube vlog, the purpose of the interview was to inspire people to reach their dreams by working hard. He also denied receiving 10 million pesos. Soto asked journalists why they accept invitations from compromised guests, especially those who are ready to offer payment. The Discayas have ties to at least 2 contractors that cornered 20% of all flood control deals. The Pasig mayor said while this practice is not illegal, this goes against the ethical standards that journalists should uphold. For him, reporters cannot hide behind excuses like they're dealing with mere lifestyle content. In a postscript, Soto said he has no intentions of creating new enemies. The mayor added he's just lucky that he had the upper hand during the May elections. But what about a smaller candidate with less fortunes? We have more stories coming up. This is the big story on One News. Stay tuned.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us here on The Big Story. The Armed Forces of the Philippines reports increased Chinese activities in Ayungin Shoal, including maneuvers and water cannon drills by Chinese Coast Guard vessels. 5 CCG ships, 11 fast boats, and RHIBs and 9 maritime militia vessels were reportedly deployed by Beijing, with some fast boats armed with heavy weapons. Aerial assets were also spotted, including a helicopter and an unmanned drone. Ayungin Shoal lies within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone.
And as we head into the long weekend, how about we get a refresher on how to manage our hard-earned money and use it for worthwhile activities such as traveling. Tonight we have content creator who hits 2 birds with 1 stone. Joining us to talk about travel and all things finance is content creator Jax Reyes. Hi Jax, good evening and thank you for joining us here on The Big Story.
Hi Ses, hi Pauline, thank you for having me as well.
I'm so disappointed that you're not here with us in the studio.
Ay nako, yes, alam ko. It should have been live para mas maganda yung usapan natin.
O ano nangyari? Sorry sinita pa kita before the interview could begin. I've been watching your content on YouTube. I guess siguro you figured na magastos pumunta dito.
Hindi.
Baka nabaha.
No.
Baka
really
masira ang kotse mo.
Pero no, I wanted to be there, pero just like a little conflict on schedule. Pero sabi ko, no, I have to make time for both of you ladies talaga.
What in my case, or I think Pawi also agrees with me that we find your content very authentic, very easy to relate to kasi you include your experiences. Paano ka ba napunta sa pag-create ng content and specifically on personal finance and yung hindi dapat tayo magpabudol sa ating mga credit cards? Paano napunta doon?
Okay, sige po. Actually, yung Ses and Spawi, it started during the pandemic. So, nung pandemic, I still have my corporate job. And then, syempre, we didn't have to go to the office. I had extra time. I love credit cards. I love the points. I love maximizing it. So, sabi ko, why not create content? I wanted to break the wrong notion of Filipinos na masama yung credit card kasi utang lang yan. So that's why I really started creating those content on how do we usually use our credit cards in the right way para hindi tayo mabaon sa utang, and how do we maximize the benefits that we get from it. And then slowly when the world opened, sabi ko, oh, I love traveling as well. Now I can merge both my love for personal finance and travel. Now, everyone can travel. It's just that syempre dapat budgeted muna siya. Tapos, let's look for the best deals as well out there. Kasi meron. And abot kaya naman siya. We just have to make sure we create the right steps along the way, di ba? Kaya nakita niyo yung mga binablend ko lagi, finance, plus if ever you want to travel, basta budgeted mo siya, kaya natin siya.
Alam mo, Jax, tayong mga Pinoy, mahilig no? Hindi lang magpabudol, kundi magbudol din. Marami yan. Oo, on our social media apps. But how would you describe the financial or spending habits ba of a typical Filipino that could be improved?
Oh, okay. What I love to always say is, number one, when we do get our hard-earned money, unahin natin like our savings. or your investments, or maybe kung ano yung itatabi mo for yourself. I love the saying that self-love is never selfish. So for a lot of us kasi, what happens is, di ba, if nandyan na yung sweldo natin, inuuna natin lahat ng expenses. Kung ano yung natira, yun yung savings natin for a rainy day. But why not flip it, di ba? Unahin muna natin ano yung para sa atin, which is our savings. Emergency fund mo ba yan or for your investment? And then, allot all your different monies. Or allot your different money for your needs, wants. Hulihin mo yung mga wants mo. And my second tip here is, when you have a luho spend, ang lagi ko naalala sa kwento ng mom ko when I was a kid, is sabi niya, pag luho yung item na gusto mong bilhin. For example, I love bags, di ba? Kung gusto mong bilhin isang luho na bag, you don't really need it, but you just want it. Dapat you have 10 times of that money, that amount in your savings account or in the bank before you purchase that item. Kasi it's not a need.
10 times. I-multiply mo ng 10 times.
Correct.
Okay.
Oo, diba?
Teka, nabanggit mo yung savings. How many percent of your earnings should you put aside as your saving or parang emergency? Parang set aside mo na, nakuha mo na yung sweldo mo, how many percent?
Rule of thumb, kung kakayanin, 20%. At least
Malaki.
20% tayo. Medyo malaki, yes. But we can go take baby steps naman, di ba? So if you want, the first step, build your emergency fund. Emergency fund, when we compute it, is 3 to 6 months of your monthly expense. So let's say kung monthly expense mo 20,000, 3 times that is 60,000, or 6 times of that is 120,000. Diba? So dapat yun yung emergency fund mo muna. So you can take it slow. Hindi naman siya parang kaya mo kagad siya in 1 month eh. It will take time, but again, a good rule of thumb, 20% of your earnings or your salary should be your savings. Pero
okay,
yes,
go ahead. Finish muna what you're saying.
Sige.
Okay.
But syempre, kanya-kanya siya. Diba? If sometimes pumapalya tayo, 10%, why not? Diba? At least meron. Then kung let's say bonus, lakihan mo 30% to your emergency fund or to your savings.
Paano naman yung mga sapat lang talaga ang kinikita, wala na talagang talagang puwang para mag-save? Maraming Pinoy ang ganyan. Ano pang ma-advise mo? How can they set aside money?
That's right. You know, one thing that I love also is when I was younger I love looking for side gigs. And I believe that Filipinos, lahat tayo maparaan. Di ba, madiskarte? I think that's one thing that we Filipinos have. So when it comes to looking for, let's say, your side gigs, side hustles, laging tinatanong sa akin, ano ba magandang side gig? And lagi kong binabalik yung tanong na, saan ka magaling? Where is your talent? Diba? Is it, let's say, computer? Is it editing? Is it hosting? Diba? I'm sure meron kang isang talent that you can hone. And you can sell that talent. And ang kagandahan doon is libre siya. Diba? For example, back then, I was great in launching events. So during the weekend, kung meron akong gig na nakikita na, kailangan nyo ng PM or ng stage manager, nagigig ako. So even pagod na ako sa office, naghahanap ako ng side gigs ko on the side. And then that allows me to hone my skill, but on the other hand, syempre, ang kagandahan doon is may extra kita rin ako. Kasi di ba, ang hirap naman I personally always try to also say na mag-ingat po tayo sa mga online lendings. Alam ko, madaling tukso yun ang dali mangutang But, di ba, mahirap if ever wala tayong extra income, mahirapan na tayo bayaran yung utang po na yun.
Sige, Jax, before we get to the best investment options for a Filipino, I wanted to ask about credit cards because you are one of the founders of Kaskasan Buddies.
Thank you.
Yun, hindi ko alam. Saan ba mahanap yung Kaskasan?
Sa Facebook.
Facebook.
Oo. So, ang dami nang, you built a big community there as well where you share tipid tips, di ba? And hacks in credit cards. And tama yung sinabi mo, Jax, na usually takot yung mga tao gamitin yung credit card. It's utang daw. But at the same time, alam mo, meron din ako makilala na ang tingin din naman nila sa credit card, free money. Kaya talagang minamax out. So there's really that lack of knowledge, I guess, in how to use it properly. What are some of your best tips pagdating naman sa credit card?
Okay. Number 1, it's like what you said, Ms. Fawi, di ba? Don't see it as free money. 'Di ba? Kahit ang laki-laki ng credit limit na binigay sa ng bangko, think of it as the trust that the bank gave you. So parang pinagkatiwalaan ka ng bangko with this much of a credit limit, huwag mo naman siyang isipin na ay pera na siya na libre na pwede kong hugutin. So only spend what you have in the bank. 'Di ba? That's always a good rule of thumb eh. Kung gusto mong bumili ng isang bagay, you have to make sure at the back of your mind, 'di ba? Meron kang pera for it. Binudget mo siya bago mo siya ikaskas, as we say it. Kasi when the time comes you need to pay for that bill sa credit card mo, dapat meron ka pang bayad because interest is very, very high.
Tama ba, Jax, na kailangan, it's better to always pay in full kesa yung mga minimum amount na yan. Diba?
Always pay in full, Miss Pawi. Tama ka dyan. Always pay in full, di ba? Think of it, ang kagandahan with your credit card kasi, if alam mo how to time, di ba? Let's say, nag-cut off yung credit card mo, di ba? Which is, di ba, nagka-cut off lang siya. If swipe mo yung item mo na yon, it gets charged to you or you need to pay it on the due date roughly around 50 to 60 days after. But,
so bumili ka dun sa cut-off.
Yes, like after the cut-off, di ba? Para mas mahaba yung time mo. But, syempre, now that you have that time, make sure na may pera ka na pambayad sa bill. Because if you pay the minimum, mataas ang interest. And the interest is at 3%. Isipin mo lang, binili mong item kung 100,000 pesos yan, 3% of that is 3,000 pesos sa interest pa lang. Ang 3,000, ang laki ng pwedeng marating. Diba? Pwede na siya pang renta, pwede na siya pang dine out mo with a lot of group of friends mo. Diba? So, that's why always pay in full and pay on time. Para hindi tamaan yung credit score, as they say it, which is your trustability score. Diba? If you have a high credit score, it allows you or the bank will trust you enough na kung kailangan mo mangutang in the future, they will give you that loan.
Okay.
Diba? Kaya kailangan pangalagaan and pay in full.
Pupunta na ba tayo sa investment, kung saan mo dapat itabi yung pera mo? But before we do that, yung warning, kasi ang naglipanan na yung mga invest, double your money, yung mga ganon, diba? On social media. What are the red flags na dapat tignan ng tao na hindi ko dapat ilagay yung pera ko dito?
Okay. I think there are three things that I love to, I like things in threes. The first one is yung napaka-unbelievable ng return. Yung if it's too good to be true na, yung parang sabi mo, 10,000 pesos mo, gagawin natin, dodoblehin natin siya, 20,000 pesos yan in 20 days or in 10 days. Diba? If it's too good to be true, it usually is a scam. Diba? That's the first one. Diba? Yung too good to be true. Second is yung mga walang proper licenses. Yung pag sinearch nyo sa SEC or let's say DTI, parang wala pala sila mga documents. Diba? Hindi pala sila accredited either ng BSP or ng insurance or ng investment company in the Philippines, diba? Ng mga bureaus natin. Kung wala yung correct na paperworks, then it most likely is a scam. And last but not the least, trust your instincts. Paminsan, di ba, pag binobola na tayo ng mga tao or nadadala na tayo dahil, oh my gosh, parang ang ganda nito. Again, if you do not know the product, if you feel na, uy, parang may something wrong dito, di ba? Most likely, it might be a scam. Trust your instincts rin. Kung naririnig-rinig nyo lang sa mga kaibigan yan, you did not do your own research, hindi mo rin inaral yung produkto, don't invest as well. So those three things.
And now, Jax, doon naman sa mga investments, because they are a great way in order to parang earn money passively instead of it just being in a savings account kung saan kinakain siya ng inflation. So what are some of the best investment options? And what do you think na rin kasi recently, di ba yung si MEPA, ngayon naglagay na ng 20% tax as well on time deposits na kumbaga, doon mo na nga nilagay yung pera mo kasi kakaltasan pa siya ng 20%.
Okay. I'll get the CIMEPA out of the way first. I actually have lots of content on CIMEPA. Actually, si CIMEPA, way back in the day, it was already there. Tinatax na rin tayo for our interest. Interest earnings po ang tinatax noon. Sa savings account natin. And for the short-term time deposits, may tax na rin siya na 20%. Yung hindi lang niya tinatax back then sa time deposit was the one that is 5 years and longer. Yun yung naka 0%. 0% tax on the interest earnings. So if, for example, you put your money sa banks, matagal nang may 20% withholding tax. So now that I think a lot of the news kasi sinasabi na itatax yung buong savings mo sa... Hindi. It's the interest
Pero
lang.
kumonti na yung options mo as, you know, a saver.
Correct. Okay, yes naman, at least. But now, here are my, feeling ko top 3. I'll give you top 3 pa rin na parang where I actually like and where it's relatively safer and it's easier for Filipinos to do. The first one is, I love talking about high yield savings account, which is yung HYSA. Ito yung mga nasa digital banks. Diba? You usually see digital banks out there that gives interest of up to 8%, 10%, 12%. Diba? Ito yung mga digital, hindi ko alam kasi Miss Cess and Miss Pawi, can I name names or we cannot name names? We cannot.
Pero alam na natin yan.
Alam na natin yan. Pero may ceiling,
okay,
di ba?
good.
Parang 100,000,
Sige, yes.
up to 100,000.
Up to 100,000. Very good, yes. Kaya maingat ako eh. Di ba? Yung unang tanong ko. Yung mga digital banks to,
are they
usually
safe? Because marami ring, are they safe? Will they? Because there are some scams na...
Oh, nahahack.
Nahahack.
Oo.
Have you experienced it? Have some savers complained to you about it?
Okay. Yes, I think there is. I believe kasi in any type of investment, in any type of banks naman, there will still be some risk. Kahit ano naman gawin, let's say, there will always be risk. Kaya nga, di ba, it's always the constant reminder na kung hindi nyo kilala, huwag nyong ibigay yung mga information mo. Remember, it's called private, di ba? Private or personal information. So, keep it personal.
Okay.
Di ba? The banks will never ask for any of those information. Kaya parang keep your account safe din. Now, when it comes to the digital banks din, they're all PDIC insured. Basta may lisensya sila sa BSP. Up to 1 million pesos na nga. Dati 500,000 lang yan. Now it's 1 million. So, rest assured, you're insured of up to 1 million pesos for that digital bank that you open.
Okay,
diba?
so HYSA, high yield savings account.
High yield accounts. Two more. I love our government's Pag-ibig MP2. I think recently, in the recent years, ang dami natin naririnig na Pag-ibig MP2. One of your best way to put your account there, if you're a Pag-ibig member, most likely you are able to open and it's voluntary. So kung magkano yung gusto mo ilagay. The recent years, ang kanyang interest per annum or dividend niya per annum is nasa 6 to 7%. Which is, di ba, higher than inflation. So at the very least, di ba, kumikita yung pera mo. Then you can all do it digitally. So online, pwede niyong gawin yan. And then, last but not the least, the third one. Ito naman is more, syempre, mas risky na rin naman siya. Hindi naman sobrang risky, but it's still legit naman. I love mutual funds or what they call UITFs.
Pero bagsak ang stock market, so...
Yes. But kasi, ang kagandahan na compared to, let's say, individual stocks, the mutual funds and the UITF kasi, it invests in a lot of different stocks.
Okay.
So parang spread out yung risk. And if you, di ba, if you choose, let's say, those companies that you believe and that you trust, relatively, if for example lang, let's follow the US stock market na it follows the S&P 500, more or less, di ba, lagi nilang naririnig natin na 10% ang returns mo dito. And think of it for long term. So if you wanna try mutual funds and UITFs, I always recommend pang long term mo siya, pang retirement mo siya. Huwag mo siyang isipin na kikita ka agad, ipo-pull out mo yung funds mo. Wait for it when you grow older, when you retire, para makita mo, wow, grabe, yung kinalaki ng pera.
And you're happy with your UITF investments?
Yes, I'm actually very happy.
Since when did you invest in UITF?
UITF?
Yeah.
Actually, I started 10 years ago. So kahit na I was in corporate, kahit paunti-unti yung pera ko, naglalagay ako. Ang pinaka-biggest regret ko lang back then when I was in corporate was not being consistent. Kaya I always remind everyone, if you want to do this, you want your money to work hard for you, be consistent. Kahit konti yan, it adds up.
Panghuli na lang, pahabol. Yes. Crypto. A lot of the youth are looking at crypto and putting their money there. What is your take?
I personally don't have a big portfolio on crypto. Whenever I say if you want to do investments, number one is you need to understand the product really well. Kung alam na alam mo siya and you really, really believe in the product, then go. And secondly is invest money that is allotted for investment. Hindi yung pera mo for your daily need. Para just in case, if nawala yung money mo na yon or nalugi man yon, hindi ka yung tipong gugunaw yung buong mundo mo because that money is allotted for your investment and you do know the risk that it might take.
Grabe, nakaka-inspire. Ang dami na nating natutunan kay
Oo nga,
Jax tonight.
how young are you? Ba't ang dami mong alam?
I'm not young. Lampas na ako ng kalendaryo for a couple of years.
Oh, we're so glad and we're so grateful that you shared all those tips with us. But for now, thank you so much for joining us, content creator Jax Reyes.
Thank you, ladies. Salamat.
All right, and just like that, that's it for the big
Aba,
story
and
this
just
week.
like that.
And
Are
just
you
like
a fan?
that. What's that?
The series
The movie?
Yeah. Okay, you're not.
Okay.
And just like that, continue. Sorry.
Oh yeah, the series that became a movie. Okay. That's it for the big story this week. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here Monday at 7:30 p.m. Enjoy the long weekend. Some of you may be on vacation till Monday, but we'll see you here in the big story.